Yeah, I have to. I have to admit, like, I really was not expecting to, but I popped it on because I had to gain those levels, or no, I had to do that mission to get the third weapon slot. And after I got it, I was like, okay, I can turn this off now. And I'm like, well, I mean, I guess I don't have to. You know, they were a little bit higher level than me, so let's do a couple missions. And then like I was like, oh, Moxie's my favorite character. Yeah, I love a casino heist. Let's do that. And now I'm level 22.
Hey.
Do
Yeah,
I need
you got the bug, didn't you? You got bit by the
I
bug.
I really, really did. And like I was thinking about it, like I was doing my usual Tuesday thing where I stay in a hotel room on Tuesday nights, and I didn't have time to play Tuesday before I left. And then I'm thinking about it last night before I go to bed. I was in the lift today, coming back here. I'm like, oh, I wish we were streaming tonight so that we could play Borderlands. I don't know. I really did not get into the second one at all. It was really difficult for me to get into it. But whatever it is they changed about the third one, I'm digging it.
I am not
The second one.
Yeah, I'm just not paying attention to the story in this one. Because I usually have another story on in the background, or music going, or a movie going. And it's the gunplay for me. Has really like hooked me into Borderlands.
The gunplay is a lot of fun. You were going to say something?
A lot of feedback. Yeah, I think I was, but I forget what it is now.
I have found out. I have started using SMGs and assault rifles.
Okay.
All right.
They are.
I can start recommending legendaries to go hunt for.
I forgot that SMGs are a siren weapon because they have so many things to increase reload speed and accuracy and stuff.
Yeah. They're a lot of their class mods and their class in general are kind of based around elemental in most of the games. So it's normally Maliwan guns.
Yeah, I found a lot of really good Maliwan guns. The shotgun that I just found a legendary shotgun that is a double barrel, and it reloads in 1 second.
Yeah,
and it does. I think it's like over like 1,000 damage.
Yeah, I found that one too.
Oh,
and like,
is it a Jacob?
It's a Jacobs, yeah.
And it fires as fast as you can pull the trigger, or as you can click the button.
Mm-hmm.
I was rocking that one for a while.
Funny thing. Once you beat the story, you can start unlocking. While you're getting badass points now. But once you finish the story, there's a whole like meta leveling thing that you can add points to a overall. All of your characters benefit from this boost setup. It used to be badass points in the old one. I think it's something different in this one. Guardian rank. That's it. Guardian rank in this game. But you can get reload, elemental chance, all sorts of stuff. So and it's one of those things where like you're getting those levels, so you're leveling regularly anyway. Because there's a whole like Vault Hunter Plus gameplay loop for both of those games as well. So where you can start with, I think you can start at your current level with your current weapons, but all of the enemies start at your current level, and I think are a little bit generally spongier.
I don't think I need the bosses to be any spongier. The bosses are super sponge.
I actually haven't done a Vault Hunter Plus run actually, so don't quote me on that. That's something I have heard, but I haven't got a chance to actually get that far in any one of them. I always spin up a new character and start over.
Yeah, I gotta finish the game with my current character.
Do I need to worry about over leveling you guys, or like out leveling you guys?
No, so the way we have it, I think the way all of us have it set up is that it'll somewhat level to the individual player. Like a character, if I'm level say 9 and the character's one level above me, I'll see a level 10 ogre. And you'll see, if you're level 22, you'll see a level 23 ogre or whatever. The way we have it too, I think we have the all of the loot is also instanced. So,
Yeah, the loot is instanced.
until we pick it up, like whatever gets dropped, we see it individually for us. Until we drop it for someone else, we only see our own stuff. Which, there's no like loot ninjaing where like someone's just grabbing all the good stuff and no one gets anything.
Speaking of instances, welcome to another instance of today's theme podcast. If you're new here, helps out, and make sure you subscribe down below. I am your host, Mara. Joining me as always is Asher Dales.
Ayo.
And Lostronaut.
Hello.
And today, our theme is one that you all may be familiar with. It is Grinds My Gears Part 2. We are angry beings. Vengeful gods, if you will.
Angry
and
little...
we have many things that anger us.
Mad little troglodytes.
Mad little... That is such a good word, troglodyte, and it doesn't get enough play. Like, have you ever called someone a troglodyte?
On the internet, yes.
Have you ever called them something?
Yeah, I feel like it really has to fit a certain aesthetic. Like, it kind of has to fit. Like, you can't just kind of jam it. It really has to kind of fit the usage.
It does. But like, what do you like? I know a troglodyte is someone who isn't good with technology. Like they don't understand computers and stuff like that. But like, have you ever called someone it in real life and seen the look on their face afterwards?
No.
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Because
is it possibly because they have to go and look it up now?
Exactly, because most people don't know what it means. They have no idea. I know the first time I heard troglodyte, they were enemies in EverQuest. You found them fighting on the moon.
Huh. I
don't think I've never played EverQuest.
You've never? Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was probably a big nerd and first saw it in a book. Anyways, like
I absolutely read it before I used it anywhere. Like I didn't hear that. I saw that.
So since our last episode, what new things have been pissing you gentlemen off?
So, Microsoft has removed the Windows activation for a local account from Windows 11. They have removed the command line that lets you like bypass having a connection to the internet and needing to make a Microsoft account to start up your computer for the first time.
Oh, really?
Yup.
Wow.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, that's still a feature in like the enterprise editions, like the business versions, because in a lot of cases, for like a lot of security reasons and imaging reasons in general, you have to like preload some users onto the image and like, all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah, and
was like it's still in like a professional option.
There's still an option. There is still like a third-party bootloader or media creation thing where you can where it will still disallow the internet for Windows creation. But like if you just have a regular,
is it the decrapify me?
Something like that. I forget what it's called. But there was a media creation tool where you could create your Windows 11 ISO where it won't ask for an internet connection. But if you just have like a regular Windows media creation tool, or you get one from you do it right from Windows, right from Microsoft Store, you have to you for like a week you had to log into a Microsoft account to create your local account.
Oh, that okay.
But the wizards of the internet have found another workaround. Another
I
command
mean,
prompt line workaround.
they always do. It's sticking with in the vein of operating systems. I was helping a friend figure out some laptops last night, and I popped one of them open. We charged it up. I turned it on, and I was greeted by Windows 8.1.
Mine hasn't been turned on in a while.
I saw it, and I was like, "Is this the Microsoft Surface OS? What is this?"
Yes.
I went to the
And
info. I was like,
the the Windows Phone OS.
yeah. Oh God, I forgot they made phones for a hot minute.
So does everybody else. So did they. They forgot they made phones.
I mean, they want you to forget that they made phones.
Rightfully
Things that
so.
grind Microsoft's gears, their own phones.
Apparently,
the Zune.
apparently the Windows
that died an early death.
apparently the Windows phones were actually pretty good. Just
Yeah, honestly, I would believe it. I loved my Zune. I had
The
a Zune.
hardware. The hardware was great. The problem was you had the Windows Metro OS on it. That was the whole problem.
the
The
whole
gear was good.
the tile
the brain
system
was bad.
the tile system was just trash,
yeah.
awful. And for whatever reason, they didn't just like only put it on their mobile devices. They had to be like, oh, now we're gonna make an operating system based around it because we're idiots. Because that's what mouse and keyboard users want, to push tiles. Troglodytes. Microsoft are troglodytes.
There's the application.
That's not the first time they've completely screwed an OS. And I'm thinking of a very, very big one that it was universally hated. That was Windows ME. God,
yeah, Windows ME.
it only lasted for like a month or two before they just scrapped ME.
Yeah, Windows major excrement. Yeah, I remember that.
I ran ME for a couple of years.
I ran ME for a couple of days before I couldn't even use it. It was unusable for me. In my usual experience with software and programs, it's all of the bugs that are available in the program I was able to find just by using it.
I'm like that with Razer software.
Because that was that's my experience with almost every single game launch, is that every bug that is available, I will inevitably run into just because it exists within the game. Like, I hit every single bug in Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I think we've had this conversation. Even on launch, it didn't run great, but it ran. I was able to play the game. I was generally pretty bug free. Now, I didn't play super extensively, but I played past the opening and in at least a few missions, and I honestly didn't have any problems.
I ran into everything. NPC glitches, my character glitching, falling through the world, crashes. It was awful.
Yeah, I didn't have any of those issues. I think the biggest issue I had was at one point I opened the game and there had been an update, and one outfit in my closet suddenly didn't work, and it would just break. I would have to reload the save if I tried to put those clothes on. But that happened once. Because the problem was the clothes. It would just tell me not available at this time or something like that. But I couldn't get rid of them out of my inventory. I couldn't do anything else with them. You know, it was just they were there for now forever unless I restarted the game or just started a new save. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I just didn't bother clicking on them anymore.
Yeah. Oh, another user interface. Who remembers the X-Cross media bar found on the PS3?
Oh yeah.
Oh, wait. Okay. All right. Yeah, no, I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, actually, I really like that. That operating system was very pretty.
But the interface,
I
the
don't know if
user
I'd want to do
interface,
office
though,
work on it.
the interface was awful, awful.
The worst.
Oh, for the X player, that I'm not sure. I don't think I ever used it much. I played a fair amount of media on like the Xbox 360, but I don't think I played a lot on the PlayStation 3, honestly.
And it's tragic because the PS3 had the single best Blu-ray drive on the market.
It's so
Oh
true.
yeah, it was the best one on the market, and you got a game system with it.
For less than everybody else had it out for.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the whole thing. Is like a good Blu-ray player was still $800, $1,000 somewhere, something crazy like that. It was pretty high.
You could just get a Blu-ray player, or you could get the best Blu-ray player on the market and a game system.
600 US dollars.
That that games never really worked right on for like at least a month because they had to come up with a completely different architecture than everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So the game devs had to build a second separate game just to make it run on PlayStation.
What was the name of it? What was it? Actually, I don't know if it even had a name. But the Wii's UI, the original Wii's UI.
Oh yeah.
I hated it. It was so simple, but I hated it.
The television grid.
Yeah.
It was like the television wall at the end of the Matrix.
I hated it so much. I could not stand it.
I don't really remember liking it or hating it.
I found it to be too bright. I don't think there was a dark mode for it. I think that was my biggest problem. Otherwise, it worked okay, but I didn't really use my Wii for very long.
I hated the infrared bar. Absolutely hated it.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was the biggest problem with the system, was the infrared bar.
I mean, you could always just replicate that with 2 candles.
Awful.
But then you run the risk of burning your TV down.
Wait. I was always afraid. And I think that's actually why I got rid of my Wii, was because I ripped the cord out of the infrared bar. And for whatever reason, I could not find a replacement.
Huh.
Oh god, they were like $10 at GameStop at one point. Probably less. Get them in the bag section. I guarantee you, whoever traded it in, they gave like half of a penny.
Has anybody gone to the new retro GameStops?
They have retro GameStops?
I haven't stepped into a GameStop in so long. I didn't know they had a retro GameStop.
Yeah, so they have
What
they're doing retro
exactly is
games.
that?
They're doing retro games now.
Oh.
So they're not like full retro, but like they'll do buying and selling of retro games.
It's because the retro games market, that whole speculative thing and the grading and all that stuff blew up, so they went in. They went in on that cash.
And
they've been probably stockpiling a bunch of stuff from the because they're just like, well, we can't sell it, so they just put it in the warehouse until it just rots, or they sell it off in bundles.
And they probably are paying you bottom dollar while charging top dollar.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that's what GameStop
How
does.
else would they make all the money?
We'll give
I
you
can't
2
believe
cents and a
GameStop is even. I'm sorry, what was that?
we'll give you 2 cents and a stick of gum for this brand new AAA release game.
Yeah, we know that you bought it here yesterday, but you went home, opened it, and played it for half an hour. So, I don't know, 35 cents?
In-store credit. If you want cash, you're only going to get a nickel.
Yeah, sorry.
So
That's just the way it goes.
This game is worth exactly one pat on the back and a stern call to security. Get him out of here.
I can't believe that they are even still a, I can't, who shops at GameStop? If you're listening out there and you have shopped at a GameStop within the last year, say something.
Probably the
Leave
people.
a comment down below because my God,
Probably the people who were shopping at Toys R Us for their video games.
Yeah, so parents for their kids.
Yeah.
They
You know
just go to
what?
the local whatever.
I enjoyed buying things at Toys R Us in their games department that I ever enjoyed going to GameStop.
Oh, speaking of Toys R Us, let me tell you about how private equity really grinds my gears.
Oh, please do.
So, do you know the reason why Toys R Us went bankrupt and no longer exists except for like one store in Canada? And now I guess they're like pop-up stores in other stores.
Did the giraffe murder somebody?
No, so a private equity firm borrowed, what was it, like $2.5 billion and used Toys R Us as the collateral against that loan. So they used Toys R Us.
Yeah.
So a third party borrowed money to buy the first party and used the first party as collateral for the loan. So the third party
No, it's a pretty standard business practice.
had no risk whether Toys R Us survived or failed. So
Yep. This is kind of what happens to a lot of game studios.
So what happened was it didn't matter how much money Toys R Us was actually making, and Toys R Us was making money. They were actually really profitable because there are always going to be parents who are always going to want to buy toys for their kids. But every single dollar that was made went to paying off the loan. So they were making no net profit. It was all gross profit, but all that gross profit went to paying off the loan that was used to buy them. It's called a leveraged buyout, and it's bullshit, and I don't understand how it's legal.
If you have enough money, anything's legal.
That is so gross. And that's why Toys R Us failed?
Yep, that's why there's no more Toys R Us. Well, kind of. The Toys R Us name is still around.
Yeah,
So that was like the only thing that wasn't sold off was just the name. And now they're like,
so it's a licensed brand now.
yeah, so like they're like mini shops in other shops. So there's like a Toys R Us
Love that,
section
actually.
in another store. I forget what store it is. The same thing happened with KB Toys. Is that they were leveraged? I'm pretty sure that was what happened with KB Toys. They were a leveraged buyout, and because another store that was making profit but just couldn't pay off their loan fast enough because the loan was gigantic.
I remember when KB went under too. Huh. I can't believe that's disgusting. I hate that. I hate everything about that.
Yeah, so the private equity firms have no liability towards the loan. It's crazy.
It's free real estate.
But if you or I tried to do that, they just tell us to go F ourselves.
Well, I mean, that's rules for thee, or rules for thee, not rules for me. I mean, come on, we're We're all Americans. We know how that goes.
I mean, isn't that part of the problem with the current president? If Twitter loses enough value, the loan he took out to buy it immediately comes due. Like that's most of his value right there, or a
That is
chunk
most
of
of
it.
the value. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good chunk of it.
and that, and then he's got the then he's got the the first lady out there chucking cars for him. Did a live commercial.
I love Tesla.
Oh,
Can't even get the name
That is
right.
the funniest sound clip that came from that. I love Tesla.
Oh my god.
I can't believe that there's a whole industry now of making bumper stickers for Tesla saying I bought this before Trump was elected.
Oh, you know what's really funny is the amount of traffic on like auto body and auto customization forums must have skyrocketed because people were looking at how to remove the badges and rebadge them with other stuff. There's a whole like little cash market of buying like Audi badges or Toyota badges or whatever for like their cars because like a lot of the designs just kind of generic enough that if you don't really know what if you don't really know cars that much or you're just not interested, it's like, oh yeah, okay, that's an Audi, whatever. And that's kind of what they're going for. Except for the Cybertruck. That thing, that there's no hiding that.
That thing is gotta be. Yeah, that's something I hate. That ugly ass car. Oh my god! Can we talk about how god awful that car looks?
Don't worry about vandalizing that car because it'll just break on its own.
Honestly, I mean, if you drive
Yeah.
it long enough, it'll just break down itself.
Well, no, so they just had all of them have been recently recalled because the glue that they used to glue on the steel panels was not the right glue for that type of material and will just fly off at highway speeds and become a random flying guillotine. I'm sorry, I've seen Final Destination. Not for me, thanks. But
The
literally
fact that
all of
The
them
fact
have a
that it-
recall right now.
they just let that go. Like it's glued on. It's literally just glue.
Mm-hmm. And here's the other funny thing: is if you've ever seen any of the Cybertrucks that have been wrapped, that actually ruins the finish.
Yeah.
The
heard
minute they
that.
take that wrap off, that steel is going to start oxidizing. They absolutely like ruin
Not only
the
that,
steel under it. It actually says in the manual not to do that.
but the dyes from the wrap will actually permeate the unfinished stainless steel, and it will ghost the image of the wrap into the stainless steel.
Yeah.
So you got burn-in on your stainless steel. Oh, and
That's
I love
amazing.
that's a very cyberpunk problem to have. I'm saying, yeah, I gotta get my car detailed. I've got burn-in on the sides.
That's
the,
amazing.
there was a problem with the charger getting stuck in the port. And there's an emergency release for it, but pulling the emergency release for the charger port will break the port.
Yep. No longer functional. They keep catching on fire, like, and because the emergency the emergency latches are like in weird places, like in the back door, you have to remove a panel to get to the emergency latch to get out of the truck. If it's on fire, a giant battery. Like, oh, hold on. Let me just pull out I know we're on fire. Let me just pull out the manual and see how exactly to open my door. Thanks.
That's not the first time that cars spontaneously caught on fire. Ferraris used to catch on fire. Like $500,000 supercars would just, because the sun shone on them, they burst into flames.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, so this is not. This is more in the event of like an accident. I'm not, I don't think they've been. I don't think they've been just bursting into flames that I've heard of. But
Yeah, the
I do
glue
know.
in Ferraris. I forget which one it was. It was I forget which one it was, but the glue that they used was such a low melting temperature that the sun shining on it would melt the glue and it would drip down onto
Oh,
the engine and just catch on fire.
oh, okay. So at that point, it just became like basically just napalm or something.
Yeah.
Just super flammable. It might as well be gasoline. Probably a petrol product.
What isn't a petrochemical anymore? We're petrochemicals now with all that
I mean,
microplastics.
kind of, yeah. We kind of are.
Okay. With enough microplastics, you just turn into giant 3D printers.
We're biological 3D printers.
And that's a good point.
I'm gonna go switch over to media, a thing that really grinds my gears in media. Is
Okay.
I watch and read a lot of anime and manga, and I really hate the trope or like the subgenre that is like the weakest blank gets kicked out of the party but is actually the strongest. I hate that like subgenre. It's awful. It's the worst because everyone is so brain dead that like they think like just like that if you're not like a standard like one of the original classes from D&D, you're useless.
What would be an example, like as a show, for instance? What would be an example? Of this?
There's one where that sticks out to me is that is what is it? Something blacksmith kicked out of the party. I forget what it's called, but the premise is that everyone who gets a class has like their own sacred weapon and that corresponds with their class. But so like they don't need blacksmiths anymore. But they're in like medieval time period. So you still need a blacksmith for anything else metal?
What?
So in this world, when you get your class, when you like get your class from the blessing procedure, you also get a sacred weapon that goes along with your class that like doesn't need any repair or anything like that. It's like a impervious immortal object that goes along
Okay.
with your class. So, and then the blacksmith class gets a hammer because it's blacksmith, you know. But they're like the blacksmith is the most useless class because nobody needs their weapons worked on. Yeah. But what about making nails for the wood structures you guys are using?
Or like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, anything else that needs metal.
Or like, you
Other
know,
weapons, for instance.
the farming tools,
Yeah.
like
A saw?
the door hinges, the saws, literally anything else that has to use metal in your world. You just not use metal anymore? Or you just use like a like sacred sword of like of the gods to cut trees down. You don't need an axe anymore?
I guess not. I guess just tools aren't a thing.
And I started reading it because I was just like, I wonder how bad this is. And it gets even worse because he uses his blacksmith skill on non-metal stuff. Like he uses his blacksmith skill to like magically make chairs and beds and like other things that like just don't use any metal in them.
Are they just breaking it down to, oh, a craftsman?
Yeah, I guess, but it's like he's specifically labeled as a blacksmith. It's like, what? Frustrating. Stupid. And
That is frustrating.
it's permeated the entire like landscape of anime manga. Like another one is um, like a jack of all trades thing, where it's like you get the support character who's like super overpowered as a support. Like their whole thing is just being support. And they're like, and the party's like, you're trash. You can't attack. You don't attack anything. We're gonna kick you out of the party for another attack person. What? You need a support character. You know, the buffer, so you don't run out of mana, or you have extra attack power, extra defense.
Is that kind of like everyone wants to be the lead singer and no one wants to be the bass player?
Yeah. But it's like having a band that works really well, and then you kick out the bassist because nobody knows who the bassist is.
I thought the bassist was the woman. Aren't female? Aren't girls oftentimes bassists?
I don't know.
I could have sworn that was that. I could have sworn that was that. That was a trope or a stereotype.
I thought the stereotype was that bassists were all boys.
Well, if your bassist is
That's
a
lead guitarist.
man, then yeah, it's a boy. Yeah, your bassist is a boy.
But yeah, the whole
And then if you have a female drummer, they always wear crop tops.
I feel like that's gambling.
How is that gambling? I guess if you raise your arm too high.
Oh, you said crop. I thought I thought you meant tube top for a second. I'm like, who? That seems like
no.
Like a bad idea. That seems like that's dicey. That's real dicey.
Yeah, tube top might be a problem. Tube top would definitely be a problem.
Okay, crop top. Yeah, no, I got you. Okay, just don't go too high for those symbols, I guess.
Yeah.
Or do go that high for symbols?
I mean, it depends on how much you want to amp up audience engagement. Really, I did something that I haven't done in a very, very long time, which is argue with stupid people on the internet, and it's given me a new ick. It's definitely given me a new ick. Before I say this, let me preface it with, I was raised Catholic. 12 years, I went to Catholic school. I know a thing or two about the Bible and Jesus, right? I had a run-in with a group of some just awful people, and a couple of them were these new breed of Christians that I've been talking about, or that I've been hearing about. And one of them told me that I have malignant altruism. And I kind of threw up in my mouth a little bit.
What does that even mean?
It means, and like I had heard that term before, but I never thought that people actually said it. So basically, what it means is you have a sense of concern for the well-being of others that is a tumor within you. It is a thing that needs to be removed. That's the other thing that a lot of these people say is that empathy is a cardinal sin, the sin of empathy. I hate.
No, I've heard about that. I have heard about that, unfortunately. About the empathy thing.
I guess I just don't go into these places where you find these people.
Oh my God, don't you dare. Don't you dare stick your nose out there.
Actively avoid them.
You motherfucker. You, Mr. Internet Fight Extraordinaire.
I find fights with other people. I don't pick fights with whatever they are.
Yeah,
quasi-religious.
The argument was based off of, I personally believe, and apparently this is a very radical idea as part of malignant altruism. I have the crazy idea that trans people deserve basic decency and respect, and because of that, I was accused of having malignant altruism, and I was like, "Holy crap!" So yeah, I hate that. I hate these.
Oh.
She identified as a Christian. I was like, okay.
So they would have a problem with the concept of everybody eats and everybody has a roof.
Correct. That's a problem for these people.
I always find it funny when when they're self-proclaimed Christians, yet they don't follow the teachings of Jesus Christ.
That's the thing with Christians, right? Is that it's like paint your own paint by number Catholicism, essentially.
Yeah.
It's Catholicism without the hierarchy.
For sure.
I would probably argue with that without such a large group of gods, because till you get into the nitty gritty of I'm lighting a candle to this saint for this that's a pantheon. This is just a pantheon with extra steps.
I mean, it is like patron saints of all these things. That's just a pantheon. That's just. And actually, it's even a little bit odder because then you have, because saints all existed, like saints were all humans. Then you have basically like humans ascending to godhood in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, like reverse demigods.
Yeah. But the power of God works through the saint. Derp. All right. Actually, to go back to anime, it really grinds my gears when they don't give, well, not really just anime, media in general, when they do a show or adaptation and it gets no budget and no time to produce the thing. Absolutely grinds my gears.
Oh.
Like, there's a series this season called The Beginning After the End that is super popular. And the adaptation got about $12 and a week for its budget and time and production time frame. So it's just like a bunch of sliding still images. It's awful. You would be better off reading the manga and moving it around in front of your face. There would be more animation by doing that than watching the actual animation.
That's amazing.
There were a couple of seasons of the 7 Deadly Sins on Netflix. I want to say
season 3, I think it was, where it was just that.
Season 3. Yeah, it was. There were some there. You could take during some of the fight scenes, especially, or in some cases, just some of the scenes. You could take a random still, and there would be you'd go through fine, jank.
There were more smear frames than actual frames. Because
Yeah,
that's what it is.
It's the kind of thing.
Like
the kind of thing that seemed like the animators had a bring your kids to work day.
Well,
they were just filling in frames.
Those frames are present in all of animation. They're called smear frames, and it's just to connect two keyframes together. And they'll always look weird because they're just...
Some of the animation in that one was just...
But that season of Seven Deadly Sins felt like it was all smear frames.
Yeah, but they had gotten contracted to a different animation house or something, right? At that point, that was part of the issue. Something along those lines.
Forget. I think so. It's probably because the studio. This happens a lot, where the primary studio that was doing the animation for previous seasons told the production house and the producers that we need X amount of time to produce the same quality that we did, and then the producers go, no, we'll find somebody else who will produce it in the time frame that we want. We don't care about the quality, we just care about getting it out the door. And that's what happened with One Punch Man Season 2, is that, who was it, Madhouse, that did the animation for Season 1? Madhouse came back for Season 2 and told them, we need 3 years to do the next season. We're so backed up on other work, and if you want like the same quality of animation that you got with Season 1, we're going to need 3 years to produce the next season. And so the studio house went, and the producers went, no, we'll find somebody else. I think they picked up JC staff, if I want to say that correctly, and they made a hash out of it and made everyone mad.
I hate when they do that. When I would rather wait for a well-produced, well-animated product than get it in a year. Like Invincible does that. You know, they've released a season of Invincible every year, and the animation in that show is garbage.
Yep. Takes a lot of time to produce animation.
I've never actually seen
I'd
it.
be fine. I'd be fine waiting a year and a half, 2 years between Invincible seasons. That'd be fine for me.
But then they don't get the numbers, and they don't get the advertising dollars.
They don't get the retention. So you would rather have everyone come back for episode 1 of the new season and go, this is crap, and then leave? Well, this is also the same studio that spent $1 billion on Lord of the Rings and produced Rings of Power.
You know, I heard that Rings of Power had potential, but it just kind of fell short.
Fell short is an understatement.
I was being generous.
Oh, really?
I was being generous.
I couldn't even make it past episode 1.
Oh, wow.
It was awful. Like, I knew it was going to be a failure from one of the first lines of the episode was, why does the boat float and the rock sink? Because the boat looks towards the sky and the rock looks towards Earth.
What?
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 Excuse me?
That's not even that's just a nonsense statement. That's
that doesn't even make sense on the flat Earth that was the world before it became Middle Earth.
Yeah. That's not even a statement that really necessarily conveys any sort of meaning.
What you have said is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, and we are all dumber for it. I award you no points.
Having heard it.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. Oh, bad adaptations really grind my gears.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I hate when studios do that.
And it's really for no other reason than because they don't want to spend the money or time on it.
Yeah, usually. Yeah. They don't want to spend the money on the animators. Nobody wants to pay the animators, but the animators are the ones doing all the damn work.
Just make the art so we can make more money. I don't care about the quality of the art. We just want to make the money. This is a widget.
Do an art.
Just make it. Do an art. How hard can an art be? Here's $5. Make an art. Do it. No, this is trash. I'm not paying for this.
It takes me an hour to go to the museum and look at the art. Why can't you make the art in an hour?
Yeah, right. And wait until companies start using AI to do these shows, because it's coming. It's coming.
There have already been some flops from that. If I remember correctly, there was a Marvel show that used AI for its opening credits, and the backlash was pretty bad.
It was
and it also
Secret
looked
Wars.
like absolute butt. Yeah.
It was the Nick Fury's Secret Wars show or whatever.
They
Yeah.
used AI for that?
Yup.
Yeah, for the
I didn't know that.
for the opening sequences, yeah, the credits. And when you watch it, you'll know. You'll realize it real quick. It's from a couple of years ago, so it's not great.
Yeah, Corridor Digital did a
No.
whole like AI anime, couple AI anime things, and
Oh yeah, I remember that.
it's like they said it's like what it really does. It doesn't really do a great job of coming up with anything new. What it does a real good job of is getting rid of a lot of the busy work.
Mhm.
Like a lot of the in between frames. If as long as like you do the keyframes, you can do a lot of the in betweens and the smear frames with AI. So you
I think
still hire
there's
animators and illustrators and all that and character designers and all that, but you just don't have to make them work 95 hours a week to produce a show because the AI will do all like the in between and smear frames. Cuz that's a big thing with like
yeah, for
animation
sure.
studios is like everyone complains about how long and how bad the hours are.
Yeah.
Cuz Rooster Teeth got into a
So
whole
here's the
lot of trouble
problem.
about that.
Yeah, so the problem is what they'll do is they'll take the smear frames and those in between frames and whatnot and give that to AI, and then take those same animators and then make them still give them double the work. Because let's be real,
They'll take they'll give the AI the smear frames to do and then go
Mhm.
good enough and then you get seven deadly sins.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Rooster
Yeah,
Teeth got into huge trouble with their animation studios of overworking their employees and not paying them for overtime.
really.
Yep.
Oh yeah, not paying out overtime is like
That's
that will get you slapped real hard, real quick. Apparently,
that's federal level. You effed.
yeah.
Let's see what else has been annoying me lately. Uh,
Nintendo. How about Nintendo? Is
you know
Nintendo
what?
annoying you because it's annoying me?
Look, everybody wants to shit on Nintendo for the Switch 2, $450 or whatever. Now, let me say this. $450 for the Switch 2. You know what, Nintendo? You get that money, boo-boo.
I'm not.
All right.
I'm not
Your
pressed by
competitors have been
that
selling
too much.
systems. Your competitors have been selling systems for way more than you for over a decade. You want to sell a system that's like PlayStation money? Go right ahead. Now, you being the first ones to raise the price of games, you
Arbitrarily.
can go to hell. You go to hell. You die and go to hell.
To $80
And you better
digital,
believe.
$90
Yep.
physical, and
That's insane.
not all of the
Here's the
games,
thing. None of those.
not
None
all
of
of
those are going to go down to 60
yeah. And then not all of the
or
physical
below.
copies of the games will come with a physical cartridge. They'll be cardboard download codes. Like when everyone was
Well, I thought the code was on the cartridges they were sending.
or yeah,
Because I
so
thought it did come with like an actual cartridge, but it's essentially just a digital download code.
yeah. So you're not buying a physical copy of the game anyway. Still,
Wait, so even when you get a physical copy, quote unquote, it's just a download code?
yeah, it's not for every single one of the physical ones, but it's for some of the physical copies. They'll it's the code is on a cartridge that you have to load into the Switch 2 to go and download it from the Nintendo shop.
Wow. Wow.
And if it's a physical copy, it's $90. If it's a digital copy, it's $10 less.
There's talk that that's only for Mario Kart World.
I
Where the
really hope
80
so, but even then, that's still kind of messed up.
Yeah, and like it's still like $50, $60 for most of the other games, but it's Nintendo
I'm
Kart World, which is the 80, like where it's basically I guess the first iteration of the $80 launch price for the standard edition.
Yeah, and I think was it the Nintendo president Bowser mentioned I think they're trying something new with the pricing on their games because they see a certain value in it, so that they're pricing them accordingly. So it's like a variable pricing, but like I said, you know that any game that is currently $60 on the eShop, that ain't going down.
It never goes down.
They don't do sales.
They never discount their games.
Yeah. There are games on there that are still full price that I bought, played, and haven't played in 5 years. I think Payday 2 is still like $40 on the eShop. I'm curious, actually. Now I want to see.
I mean, we all knew that Nintendo was crappy with their pricing when they continued to sell retro games. I mean, like $20 for a retro game, you're insane. You're insane. Anything more than $2 for an NES game, and even at $2, but like, come on, that's crazy.
Get out of here.
Like, get out of here. Just get out of here. And like at that point, like Steph Sterling said had a thing on this where it's like at that point, it is ethical to use ROMs and emulators. It's ethical. Because if you're going to charge me $20 for a game that was made in 1983, no, absolutely not.
Frustrating.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
Going back to the thing with the pricing, Bowser was saying that they're doing variable pricing on those games. So one of the things I saw someone write back was, well, I guess we'll be doing variable purchasing in return.
Yeah, right? Also, did you know that Nintendo has some poor man give them a third of his paycheck for the rest of his life?
Yep.
Oh, who's that?
I think it's some guy named Gary Bowser or something.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there was something about that though.
Yeah, it was some lawsuit or something like that. What was that about? I forget.
Oh, he was a Nintendo hacker. Gary Bowser released from prison, still owes millions. He owes Nintendo as of April 2023 $14 million.
That's insane. That is insane.
14 months of a 40-month sentence. Yeah, okay. So he started becoming a middleman between people doing development work and people actually owning the mod chips for the games. So basically, I guess he was designing dongles to bypass anti-piracy. Okay, so he was designing like anti-piracy dongles and like mod chips and stuff, it seems like. I would say allegedly, but I guess he was convicted.
He was convicted of it, so.
Yeah, so I guess there's no alleged, unfortunately. But yeah, then he got caught in a sting operation in 2020. Yeah, so he was arrested during the pandemic, and yeah, he owes Nintendo $14 million. But he at least he served 14 out of 40 months, so I mean at least he's not in there at the time. That's kind of.
Well, Nintendo's got to start recouping their money from him.
Yeah.
Release them early, make them work. Speaking of Asia and things that grind my gears, but like kind of interestingly, where like the nuisance tubers, they go over to other countries and just be giant dickholes.
Oh yeah. I never understood why would you
Because it gets views.
Personally, I feel like you're just asking for a stabbing, depending on where you're at.
It gets views.
Like,
But
Try that in Miami,
good news.
Philly, Detroit.
See, they don't go to places where they'll actually face consequences. They go to places like Japan.
I mean, they think, but there's certainly a couple of them facing consequences.
One of them is Johnny Somali, who was actually, I think he's going to actually serve jail time. I think that was one of the things I saw.
Good.
Is like
Good, he should.
he was convicted of a couple of the things that he was accused of, brought to court for. Like weirdly, one of it was like a deep fake thing.
Oh yeah, and South Korea does not play when it comes to that sort of stuff, like at all.
So I made a meme about it. It's like, because his usual MO is go to other country, be an asshole, get arrested, get protected from the people he was an asshole to, and then get deported.
Yep. Or extradited.
Yeah. Korea went, we ain't playing that game.
No.
Because he tried to do the whole, like, be an asshole, get arrested, and then they just said, then they took his passport and said, you can't leave.
Yeah.
Good. Good. As they should have.
You're going to trial and probably jail.
You're getting arrested for all the things that people are reporting that you did and that you broadcasted on the internet and then we looked up on YouTube.
So he's
My guy, we got you in 1080p, 4K if they're paying for premium.
I
From
don't
3 different angles.
I don't know how if this is right, but I heard 5 years possibly. I hope. And if it's not, I hope it's at least 5 years.
Didn't he serve some time in Japan?
It was basically
he was time in one country.
It was like in holding. Every country that he was arrested in, it was just holding so they could process his deportation.
I thought he was like in there for like a couple of months.
No, I don't think there's any country that he really spent any real time in jail. Because he did that in Japan, he did it in Israel, and all they did was like arrest him and kick him out of the country. It was just arresting him so they could, process the kicking him out. But South Korea went, well, we have time for that.
And you know what? Good for them. Good for them. Make an example of them. Do it. Like, absolutely.
And like he did like a drinking live stream right before the day before one of his trials, one of his court appearances. So he was like blackout drunk. And he did the whole stream like parodying Trump stuff and wearing a MAGA hat in an obvious bid to get the attention of Donald J. Trump to get him out of country.
I think he's been doing that for months. So that's not the first time he's worn that. He's had that hat for a while, apparently. Like he's used it a few times. I think just a shit stir at that point, but.
I once went over to my parents' house and my father put one on and I was like, I'm not going outside with you with that, wearing that. So we can either stay in or you can take that hat off. Choose. And with that, you have wasted another perfectly good hour listening to us here at today's theme. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to voice any of the things that really just grind your gears or you have a little pickle with, let us know down in the comments. And while you're down there, don't forget to give the video a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what's wrong with you? Subscribe. And while you're doing that, hit the noti bell. Thank you. Thanks again for listening. I have been Mara.
I've been Asher.
I've been lost.
Stay grinding, cheese bags.